So, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ronny Saurenman. I'm a technical evangelist here at Microsoft Switzerland. And today I have two good news. The first one is that TechDays are back. You know that, right? Because you're here. The second really good news is I will do the keynote. Actually, that's really bad news for you because my accent is really horrible. But this time it's your fault. You voted to have a new Gotthard tunnel. You could have stopped me to being here, simply say, no Gotthard. So if you don't like it, it's your problem. Good. So I thought, keynote, TechDays, full house, 600 people. Let's keep it safe. So I said I go for a slide-only keynote. It will be a bit boring, I know. With one or two demo at the end, if I have time. And then I was watching TV, and I saw this scene. And yeah, good skier, better than me, just a bit, not a lot of good. And then, a drone crash. And I said, wouldn't it be cool to fly a drone over your head and see what happens? And so, in fact, I brought a drone. This one is the remaining of the first test, but now I got much better. So, and the one that chose the first row is not that dangerous. I will try to crash down there. Good. Anyway, this one is gone. Yes, so I thought, it will be cool. By the way, don't be scared. I heard that this drone was piloted by an Android phone. We'll do by Windows. Much safer. And also this guy, it turns out he was really inexperienced. A couple of years of drone flying. I started drone flying 2 weeks ago. So, let's go and start my presentation. This is a cool date. It's not a Microsoft product launch. It turns out that I will be celebrating 15 years at Microsoft in this date. So it's 2 months away. And it all depends about this session. Would it make it or not, right? And so I need your help. I said, why do you care that I stay at Microsoft or not? I have no idea. But for your own safety, I will recommend to turn off Wi-Fi. We disable Wi-Fi in the room because I'm controlling the drone over Wi-Fi. So I really please turn off the Wi-Fi on your phone. I know nobody will do it. It's your own risk. But the session will be really crappy if it doesn't fly. Good. So, the architecture. What I'm going to try to do today, I have a drone. I have another one. I have a reserve back there, just in case I crash one more. And the idea is like this. We want a universal Windows application to control the drone, right? So this is the first step. Build an application to control the drone. I could have gone directly from the application to the drone, but I saw Eric Gamma showing Node, and now everybody's talking Node, and maybe Node can run on cloud, so let's do a bit more complex. So I find a nice Node.js library that controls the drone. So we run this Node.js library that talks to the drone over UDP, so the proprietary protocol over TCP of the drone, and we will simply connect my application through WebSocket. So this is really the idea that I have for the first part. I will show some code, but then I will show also some IT Pro stuff, so don't be scared. Good. So what does those Windows Universal application? So the idea is, as was presented before, is to write a single application with a single binary that run across all these devices. From the small Raspberry Pi, Sasha tomorrow will show that, to the phone, to the tablet, Surface, all-in-one, Xbox, the big Surface app. By the way, we have a Surface app and also Surface Book on the boot that you can check out this new class of device. We have also HoloLens, so it could be cool controlling the drone for HoloLens. And ladies and gentlemen, no, we don't have HoloLens, I have just my Googles to protect me from the drone. By the way, nice brand, new. Good. So, will be maybe next year. We didn't get one yet. Anyway, the goal is same application running all over the place. Good, so how do you create this application? So the recommended way today is to write XAML-based C#, C++ applications you want. I prefer C#, .NET code. And by the way, XAML is now very integrated in Windows. In fact, the start menu, the notification center, control panel, all this new UI in Windows, they are XAML-based. Even the Office modern apps, the UI is all XAML-based. And now, with the acquisition of Xamarin, they even have some XAML-based. In Xamarin Form, you will see even more energy coming to this platform. So that's cool. So we know I can write a single application, work across devices, and I can do that in XAML. Good. So let's start and create my application. So let's go in my Visual Studio. Of course, for a keynote, I already prepared a bit of code because it would have been a bit too risky to really code it by zero, but in my style, I tend to add things. So it's not too much in there. So let's make a bit more room. You see the UI. And at the moment, there is the XAML. I have some control. The command bar is this part. I have the split viewer, this new control that we have in XAML. Does allow a navigation, patterns. I will show a bit more. I have a list view. This list view item, let's make it a bit bigger so you can see. List view item we already had, but something good new that we have, it comes from the Office team. We have compile time binding. They are much, much faster. I need to know the data type. This is a bit technical for the XAML guy. If you don't understand, you don't care, it's fine with me. You will see the result, but this is just to see that we have even improvement in performance with this new binding type that we have, and so on. And then at the end, I have this nice button here. That's it. That's my UI at the moment. I have some code behind. And the code behind, C#. I explain you quickly what I have here. Make it a bit more room. There we go. So the interesting part are basically these two event handlers. I want to control the drone by keyboard. So for me, it's easy with the keyboard to fly. As I said, I'm not that an expert. So instead of using touch or so, I said, let's do it with the keyboard this time. So I wire up two event handler, key down, key up. Then I have a network notification just to see if it's connected or not the drone. Let's look at the network notification. Pretty cool, right? You simply search, I'm connecting with Bebop. If yes, tell me it's online. If not, tell me offline. The rest is code that I copy from somewhere. I have no idea what it does. It works, it works. Anyway, you are risking, I'm staying here. I can still run away if the drone is getting out of control. Good. Here is the jury, the really cool code, key down. And here you can see what kind of developer I am. So instead of using a nice switch statement, I wrote this first line and say, let's copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. So highly performance code. It will go through everything, so although it will be only one keyboard at a time. Anyway, at some point I say, look, if I press left, it should send a message to the drone to go left. If I press right, so very complex code, you can see. And at the end, if I do key up, what it does is say the drone stops. So the idea is I kept the keyboard down, the drone continues to fly. I make it fly really slowly. When I lift up, it should stay there. I said it should. Let's see. And that's about it. So the only thing we need to do is to communicate between this piece of code and my Node.js. So let's start my Node.js library. You can see it's listed here on this URL. There we go. And so let's code. So I use a library for doing socket communication. So let's go and say where is defined this one. And here I have some blah, blah. By the way, nice formatting here. Okay. Whoa. Okay. That's why I'm an evangelist and not a real developer, because if you write such a code, nobody will hire you. Anyway. Here is some blah, blah that you don't care. Now is the interesting part. I want to send a message. So I use a socket library here, and it's called this socket.io client.net. And I say, look, create an instance of that. Let's call it socket. There we go. Equal, no, this is from a static method. Socket. And now simply pass in my connection, right? And then I need to talk to the Node.js. So I will say socket.emit, so send a message to the socket. So WebSocket is a kind of socket communication over HTTP, so it's more lightweight than a normal HTTP payload. and it's bidirectional if you want to. And I say, look, I will send a command. There we go. And I will send you the message. So the message, what it is, it will be land, take off, and blah, blah. Okay? So that's 2 lines of code, a couple of key down, and the rest is the Node.js library doing the rest. Good. So we are almost ready to take a fly. So it's really safe. Put my helmet. Do I look really stupid, right? It's true. Okay. And, you know, when you fly something, I think it's always really good to have a nice hostess, right? And so I got one. So please invite the beautiful Manuela on stage. Yeah, shoot. We ran out of budget due to the drone that I crashed. And so when you run out of budget, you take the one guy that has more time to help you. So my manager, Manuel, and he's a really drone expert. And so I thought I'd give him the really tough challenge to basically turn on and off the drone and change the battery. It's the maximum that a manager can do. But hopefully we will make it. By the way, here I have the only good thing I did in the presentation. I'm not going to fish. It's just to make sure that the drone really don't fly over your head. So let's turn on the drone, give it to my assistant. Beautiful one. Ooh. Okay? And hopefully I will be able to connect to the drone. Did I turn it on? Yes. Hello. It's me. I'm sure it's coming. There we go. I connect it. Now I do something. It's not really very secure, so I secure quickly the drone, saying that only from my MAC address can be connected. So if the guy that was trying to hack, you were not fast enough. Maybe. Okay. So now I'm ready to try to fly this thing. So let's see if my code compile. Hopefully it's coming. Did I mistype something, or it's really compiling? There we go. No, I don't want. Cancel by you. I didn't want to cancel. Somebody hacked in my machine. Yes. Okay, cool. I have my application here. Already my first art attack of the day. So I want to show you the Node.js here. And basically now I say connect to the drone. And now I can say take off. Oh. Woo. And there we go. I can move the drone left, move the drone right. I'm not too bad, eh? Going a bit higher. Then I can even rotate the drone, so where I did the key. Wow. Okay. So let's land the drone. Landing is a bit tricky, but it's okay. So thank you. Wow. So session is finished. No, I can please remove these stupid things because do I look good? Yeah? Okay, cool. So now we have the drone and so on, but what would be really cool is to construct something more complex. So it would be cool to get the telemetry out of this drone and display it on a nice UI. So that's what I want to do. So let's look at some of the UI things that I built for this one. And I go in my page, make it a bit smaller here. And here on the split view, I will add my UI. Yopala. Yeah, it's a bit of UI, not too much. It's copy-paste of always the same control, I can promise. So don't be scared too much, make it a bit bigger. I need a larger beamer. That would be the next thing. Okay, good. So right now, it's a bit tricky to get. Now it's good. Now it's good. I feel good. Good. So here I have a relative panel. Is a new panel that we have in XAML. It's allow things to position things in a much easier way. Left off, right off, center, and so on. So I explain you quickly how it works. I have a chart control. The chart control comes from the XAML toolkit, and simply say, look, the chart control is in this grid. this grid is positioned on this relative panel, should be on the top. Now look, this is the chart, some formatting, you don't really care about that, you copy from the internet. There is the data binding. And finally, you have the next control. I say, look, this control, the gauge, it should be right of the chart. So either show the battery, is the altitude, and then so on. So I have the speed gauge, it should be right of the altitude, and so on. So you get the point. Here I copy, paste the same gauge, so it's not really that much code. And finally, I have my image. I can even take picture of this drone. No, not of the drone, of the people in front of the drone. And here, the interesting part, I say, look, this one should be aligned in the center and should be below the grid. That's the way I position the things in XAML. That's new. You're not forced to, but it's very nice. So now I need to get the telemetry data out of my drone. So telemetry data of the drone is a bit of a... So it has a binary format. So when you need to parse binary, you search the internet. If you don't find something, you find somebody doing for you. So that's what I did. We have a new evangelist in the team, Michael, that is somewhere here, probably hiding himself. And I say, look, I have this nice documentation. You need to do some binary parsing. It's very easy. And boys are fresh from ETH, said, oh, quick. In 2 hours, he got done the parsing. So let's take a look quickly at the code of the parsing. And then I got this library tested. I said, it works, and then sometimes it doesn't work. So how do you fix code that is done by somebody else and that you have no idea what to do? You try to reboot your machine, it will not help. Or you try this piece of code that I'm really good at. You simply put some sleep. I sleep here. I sleep here. Do I sleep somewhere else? I sleep here too, you see? And now it works fine, maybe. Anyway, it's very documented. You can see basically here, the only interesting thing is the parsing. I go in there, and this is the code that he did. Read the next double, read blah, 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 and he moved all the data. You can see this is all the drone data that I can get. The time, the battery level, the GPS, completely useless inside, the speed, and so on. Okay, now we can use this class. So let's go and use this class. Here in the telemetry, let's call what is called drone telemetry. dt equal new drone telemetry. And I can wire up events. So every time it gets new data, it's firing an event. So I say, look, I have 2 events. One is telemetry data. There we go. Yes. And the next one, if I get a new picture. So there we go. And if I get a new picture, it will land there. Good. Picture is very easy. I add an image on my XAML. I say, look, the last image control, the source, it should be equal, and I get directly my image from the library. Boy, is good, Michael, eh? I don't even need to convert anything. That's cool. That's done. 1 line of code. Next thing is telemetry data. So telemetry data, we want simply to move the data from my drone controller to the UI. So let's go and take, it's this one, some of the code here. Again, not too much. There we go. And here what I do. The altitude gauge should get the value out of the drone sensor, the altitude. I calculate the speed. I have no idea what the speed here means. It looks good on the display, so it's cool. Yeah, that's I'm an evangelist. It needs to look good, but whatever it is, you don't care. And then the angle that I understand is the triangle, so you can calculate where it's flying. And then I basically show the battery, and view that I use a chart item. I simply move the battery level. Here I could have done a better code for the guy that knows how to code, but whatever. Again. And I need quickly to format my chart. So here I have chart initialization. I simply say, look, by default, you have 0 value of the battery. Bind it. Set the color, orange, and the axis. So battery will be in percentage from 100 to 0. Now, why when a full charge battery show 90%? I have no idea, but I think it's the marketing idea. So, we have a full battery, you have more reserve, you cannot charge it, but it will do. So don't be scary if the battery is already low. So that's it. So now, if I rerun my application, hopefully it will not cancel the... And there we go. And now it should go and connect and get the data out of the drone. Something is already... maybe. maybe, if I'm not so stupid, somewhere here, where are you? We should start the telemetry, right? That helps, huh? So it goes in this loop with all this waiting. And hopefully we get the battery level. Yes! You're not so excited. Me, yes, because it's not every time there. So now we can try to fly again the drone. My security hostess will make sure that the drone stays more or less on place. Take off the drone, and you can see now that I have the telemetry coming in. You can see if I go up, the altitude will go up. Now I come here, you can see that the angles. So pretty cool and easy, nice UI. Let's go higher. It's tired, this thing. So pretty cool, huh? There we go, telemetry. The magic is in this telemetry class that Michael somewhere managed to do, but whatever, it's a nice UI. Now I promise you, I said, look, this one will also work on the phone. So let's try to do that. I can run it in the phone, in my emulator. Opala. I got stuck with the cable. There we go. So it will start in the emulator, start my application, and there we go. It works. It's just damn horrible, right? Because it's all cut. I can try to fix a bit, but where are the rest of my controls? So it's really horrible. So now we can fix this thing, and it's fairly easy. So the promise in Windows is that I want to write a single application that goes, imagine I have a small tablet, a Surface, a big Surface Hub. So it doesn't need to be forcing for the phone, but I really want to scale my application. So I do that. It's fairly simple. The idea is very simple. You start with breakpoints. I said, below 500 pixels, this is the view that I want to show. Between 500 and 720, this should be the view, because it's a good match for landscape of the phone or a tablet. And above 1000 pixels, you want to show on a larger screen. So now, it would be very stupid to create 3 different views, right? 3 different views, 3 different set of controls. So no, that's not. It's the same binary, everything. So we use some adaptive technology. And basically, we have triggers and setters that allow you to update and change your UI. So this is the way I do. I say, look, if it's more than 720 pixels, you should apply these setters and basically make this size my control in line. If it's between 720 and 0, you should show this version, the overlay. So I simply apply style based on the size. That's very easy. So let's go and try to fix this one. Okay? There we go. Go in Visual Studio, drone controller. I got my XAML page, and I got a crash of the designer. The motto of today is better a designer crash than a drone crash. So there we go. And the cool thing is always happening, so I know I can prepare the joke. So yeah, the predictable thing is always good. Okay. So now I have my Visual State Manager with a bit of code. Again, copy, paste, don't worry. Code is super simple. And there we go. I say, look, if it's more than 1000 pixels, show this element, this one, large like this, show it open, and do these elements, 200 by 200. Now, from 1000 to 500, these remain the same, but those ones should be a bit smaller. And then there is the, let's call it phone view. They say this one should be much smaller in this format. It should be close, and those one also smaller. So now let's run it first in my local machine. There we go. Cool. And now you can see the magic. Look at this. Wow. So this is the way that it works. The UI changing. By the way, I didn't show you taking the picture, so let's take off. And it's not want to fly. I can take the picture, and hopefully there we go. The new selfie. So instead of the selfie stick, now you go around with your drone. Kind of makes silly, but anyway, you can see the really nice UI that I have created, adapting. So this is the way. Now we can run it on the phone, and to see if it fits. And due that the phone size is exactly the same, you will get this nice UI. I should have fixed one small bug, but this button is a bit offside. But the rest is really good, running out great. So as you can see, it's very easy to adapt the UI to a various screen, or even for the same screen. I just want to adapt to the size of my windows without changing code, without changing the way I do work. Cool. So that was a bit of universal application. I will talk about that, or tomorrow Laurent will talk about more. I will go back to this application later on, but let's switch mode. So let's talk about some IT Pro stuff. Why cloud? So cloud has some big advantage. You know, now the goal is to get this telemetry out of my application into some sort of telemetry that I can analyze. So I can go to my IT guys and say, look, yes, I need an IIS server to receive the message. Good, we can do that. Message queuing to queue the message. I need a database to analyze the data. I need some BI portal, blah, 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 blah. Can you do that? Yeah, sure. SQL, unfortunately, we're still in SQL Server 2005. We didn't upgrade yet. I need a machine, but maybe it's not ready yet. I need to order a machine, you have it in 2 months, and so on, and so on, and so on. It gets really complex very quickly. And maybe for having drone things, I would like a fault-tolerant system. So even more complex to build it yourself. In the cloud, the good thing that Microsoft is building for you. And the even cooler things we are maintaining for you. So we have 2 models. One is called infrastructural service. The idea is very simple, is to have, to give you a virtual machine. Everything below, we do manage, the firewall, the load balancer, and so on, but you need to maintain and use the virtual machine. Or even a better model, is not forced to use that one, is to say, oh, look, I can use a service that is already ready, is already patched. It can be already be used like this. I want a new version, I simply set a flag. I don't know which hardware, which IIS version, which patch, which configuration. We know how to do that. We build those products. So it's a bit stupid that everybody's rebuilding exactly the same infrastructure every second time. So this is the idea of the cloud. Now, in Azure, we have tons of services, and I will use a couple of them today. I will show how you create virtual machine, and it's good. There will be a session tomorrow going more in deep on those services. But we have something also very interesting. If we don't provide services, or if you prefer other technology, we have a marketplace where people can provide their own services or virtual machine to run on Azure. So in fact, we even have 2 of our sponsors here, Vim and Barracuda, that they offer those ready-to-use VM. I go to Marketplace, I can use it. So it's really, really easy to go and find something already configured for me. Even if it's not a Microsoft product, we are really, really, more than 300 type of VM. We install Linux, Windows, various type of database, and so on. So, I get the idea. It wouldn't be cool to change a bit my architecture and say, look, let's go into the cloud. Let's search the marketplace. Do I find a ready-to-use virtual machine with Node.js and Linux? By the way, we can also Node.js as a service too, so you can choose VM, whatever you want to configure, or a ready-to-use service that you don't need to maintain, and then move my logic here. So let's see how you do that in Azure. You go in the marketplace, and you simply say add, and say I want Ubuntu Node.js, search. There we go. There is one already ready, virtual machine. I say hello, go create. And now basically look how many steps I need to say. I need to give a name, node server, whatever, username, password. There we go. I say in which building system I want to. I put a resource group name, test, whatever, test node. There we go. I can pick the location. So the really cool things about I can put the Node.js close by where the drone is flying. So I'm flying in US from here. Not sure that they allow me. I can have my gateway there where the UDP latency is much lower, for example. And then, my mic is... Okay, now I go in here. I can pick the machine size. And you can see I can have many machine size. My mic is doing some kind of strange back and forth. So maybe you can get a second mic or something. Here, choose the right machine. Oh, shoot. And size, I can say how big it is or not, and etc., etc. There we go. We pick the cheapest one. I said we don't have too much budget. I go in. There is the various settings. It's creating that for me. Everything is okay. Yes, I get a Node.js, blah, 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 blah. It will tell me how much it will cost. I say purchase, PAM. It will create my virtual machine and so on. Now, yes, I'm taking risk today, but I'm not so sick to run the Node.js in America and fly the drone here in front of you. So this part, we will not do it live, right? But you get the point. The really cool things is marketplace. You can go in there, search virtual machine, whatever you need, and you find them. Good. So let's move on. I want to get data. I want to get data and analyze data, but I don't want to set up any infrastructure. So the first component that I'm going to use is called Azure IoT Hub. The Azure IoT Hub basically is a gateway, is a receiving of protocols, and then it can communicate even bidirectionally with the drone. So it can ingest millions of messages and allow me to do some transformation after. So let's use these services. So the idea is very simple. My application sends some JSON format to the IoT Hub. Now watch this. This is cool. Not the image, but the technology behind. Basically, I can say, look, I want to create a new IoT Hub. So Azure IoT Hub. And again, it's very similar to what I did before for the virtual machine. But here, the cool thing is that I don't need to set up a VM, a size, and so on. I give it a name, so TechDays, IoT, whatever. And now you can choose the model. And here you choose by scalability, even easier. Or I pick the standard one, 400 million messages per day per unit, for 200 units maximum. Or I pick the largest one, 6 million multiplied by 200 units. You can even have more. If you send us a message to the support, we increase even the size. So that's pretty cool. You get 6 million multiplied by 200. I was really bad in school. I need a calculator for that, so let's leave it like this. And basically then, all the default things create. Now, IT Pro, they really have this cool job. They set 5 settings, and then they can go drink a coffee, relax, come back 10 minutes later, everything is set up. I don't have these 10 minutes, so I already install IoT Hub. There we go. And yeah, let's close all this one. Let's go to all my resources. And I already have one configure for you. I don't want to send feedback today. You can see I didn't use it, so it's 0 message. And here you can even say something like, for how long you should keep the message in the queue. If I send back to the device, how long you should send back. Maybe the device is coming online every 5 days or so. So you can do these settings. But the default one is exactly the one that I created. So now I want to send message from the drone to the cloud. How I do that? I go into Visual Studio. I go to my service reference, say, look, add connected service. Pick the Azure IoT Hub. It will go, search my account. It will find, there we go. I pick this one. There we go, add. It will find, I want this device. I can, basically device is a ID and a security key. A unique identifier of the device. I can create a new device. I pick this one. It tells me some strange error that we don't care. Everything will be fine. It will open the browser. I don't know for what reason, but we also don't care. But now I have the code. So what code is writing in there? It's very easy. I go in there. There's a connection. My mic is still doing crazy things. Bebop drone, the key. And now the next thing it has two methods. Send message, receive message. Receive, I don't care. Send message, basically, connection, send hello, encode it, send it. Now I don't want to send hello, it looks a bit stupid. I want to send the telemetry data. So there we go. I simply change this method to the my one. I send the sensor data in. I want to do it every second, so I'm not sending so much data. It's my choice. I don't really need the telemetry at the 100 millisecond resolution. Connection, I serialize the JSON object, so my sensor data, get it as a message, send it to the cloud. That's it. So I didn't configure any server. I didn't write that many code. I changed just a bit of code, and so now I can use it. So I can go back to my main loop here. When I get the telemetry data, I say, look, Azure, IoT app dot send data and pass in my data, right? I will do it asynchronously, so it's firing forgetting, so more performance. That's it. Now, how do I check that everything is working fine? We have a device explorer that I can connect to my, this is a tool that comes from, I can go to the data, say, should monitoring, if I'm sending data, I start my drone application. There we go. You should get the telemetry data, cool. Now you see it's pumping in telemetry data, so I should already see message pumping in. You see? Pretty cool. Every second is going in with my data. And now it goes to the cloud. I didn't need to think about where do I store it, what do I do. So very, very cool. Imagine doing the same in your own infrastructure, writing the same code. Think about it. I didn't write that much code. I copy in the one that came from the tool in Visual Studio. Good. So I trust this part. I should do something with data, right? Perfect. I'm in time. Good. So what we want to do is to analyze this data. And we have another piece of technology that is not IoT related. You can use it for clickstream, data analysis, and so on. It's called Azure Stream Analytics. So the idea here, you have some inputs and you have some outputs, and you want to transform, filter, detect anomalies and things like this on the real-time stream. So that's what I'm trying to do with Stream Analytics. So let's see the scenario. Okay. I'm getting directly the JSON stream out of the IoT app directly in Stream Analytics. So it's one connection. I decide to save it on SQL Azure. So I save the stream. So I have the history of my telemetry data. I can analyze that data after. So it's very easy. You can store in multiple kind of storage that we have in Azure, table storage, and so on. I think the session right after you explain some of the differences. Then, I was a bit crazy. I had a bit of time to prepare this session. It will be cool. Let's do something more interesting. Let's do an alarming. If I fly more than 1.4 meter for more than once in a 5 seconds time, you should send an alarm because, I'm flying too high. So this is the way I do. I say, look, send a message to a queue. The queue will send the message to the phone. So I get an alarming system. So pretty cool. And the last thing I do, I send the stream to Power BI. Power BI, I show you a bit later on. So let's configure Stream Analytics. There we go. I go in my Azure thingy, not here, but here. Actually, here is better. So here is a bit of a story. We still have the old and new portal. Some stuff is better in the new, some stuff in the old. We will get there. We will get everything working on the new one. This one you can do both, but it's a bit easier in the old one, so that's why I use it. I already configured this one. So the Stream Analytics services, it takes really 1 minute to configure, but I wanted to save some time. So now we need the input. Input from where it comes from my IoT app. So let's go in there. input, add new input, data stream, and basically here I can say, look, from IoT hub, right? And now I simply need to connect. So I say, look, the alias will be run, drone, IoT hub. I need to type really well because I will reuse this name. So this is my alias name. And then he finds already one. So he finds the one that already created before. So I say, let's connect it. I will get JSON payload. Here he said that it should be in the same region, but I don't care. It works. And basically it's testing the connection. Now I need the output. I already created the Power BI because it takes like minutes. And so let's do that. This mic. Let's do that. Add a new output and say I want to save in SQL Server. So in SQL Azure. And that I already have one in my subscription already created. Let's use this one. So run drone SQL. And then I will add my username as my password. Table name will be drone telemetry. Let's quickly check. Run SQL, run ES, run telemetry. There we go. It will check my connection too. Okay? And the last one, I want to send a message to this queue for alarming. And let's add my output. Go in the service bus queue and say, look, let's give it a name, run, drone, alarm, queue. There we go. Yeah, maybe if I write it run, drone, alarm, queue. I really need to check because I'm reusing those names. So there we go. Get the format, done. So a bit boring, but you see the speed that I'm doing. One input, 3 outputs. So now we can go and do the magic, transform this data. So I do transform this data. I go in this query editor, and basically we have a select kind of statement. And so I can type in the query. You don't want to see me typing in query. You want me to paste query. Really sharp, but an even worse. Really? They run on the same wireless? Oh, that's good. Turn off the mic then. No, kidding. Okay, so now I get this thing. I get a select statement. I say, look, select out of the JSON format, so I don't need to parse JSON. I simply say, look, let's do it a bit bigger. So you see, I select which field I want to store in SQL and say, getting out of the app, put it in SQL Server. 3 lines of code, no formatting, no strange code. Really cool. Next one, take a couple of fields less and move it to the drone BI, so the Power BI. And now the interesting one. This is the interesting one. I say, look, I want to look if you're flying more than 1,400 millimeter. If you're doing that in 5-second time, so we check for 5 seconds, and you should have done more than once. So the normal thing I would do for 30 seconds, maybe 4 times. So see that it went up a bit, so I can do some error handling, I can do some nice checking. So now it's done. Treat a SQL statement, I save it, yes. Everything looks fine, and now what I can do, I can start my machine stream analytics. Good. There we go, it's starting. So it's a bit complex thing, so you see, code is not too much, but what I'm doing is a bit complex. So here, again, the schema. I get JSON from the IoT app in Stream Analytics. I save it, the stream, in SQL Server with no code, with a single select statement. I do a query and say, oh, if you're flying more than 1.4 meter, you're doing something wrong, send me to the queue. And then I send also to the Power BI with a bit less of data because I want to analyze that in Power BI. Pretty cool. If you think about all the technology behind, I didn't need to create a single VM, configure any OS, and so on. So, there we go. So now, to prove that it works, we probably want to do a query on my database. So let's create a new query. And this I will type it because it's the maximum level of my, if it's connecting. Oh, that's good because I will take some time to start the other thing. Hello? Okay, let's do the next step. I have the queue monitoring. So this one I will start the queue monitoring on my phone. There we go, right? So here is basically seeing if you receive a message on the queue will pop up here. And let's go back to see if my query man has come. I say instead of master, it should be in the drone SQL and look at what query I can write. Select all from drone telemetry. There we go. Wow, I can do one query. That's the maximum I can do typing. But here we should see the data coming in, right? So let's prepare this one here. Move it here so I can do the query. Here I can see the message coming in of the error. Now let's see if the stream analytics is running. You see? It said multiple minutes, but in 1 minute it was up. So now it should be everything fine. We try to fly again, fly over 1.4 meter and see what happens. So let's try that. Boy, next time I should do a much easier session. I get less scared. Good. So start this one. Cool. Position this one. Hello. My Visual Studio got scared. I don't know from what. Maybe the drone flying. Hello. Microsoft Visual Studio is busy. I didn't notice that. They're good, this pop-up, they really helpful, right? You're there a bit stressed, say, no, it's all good. It's simply not working, Visual Studio. What should we do? Should we kill it or not? Kill it or not? Kill it or not? Yes. Let's see if it's doing something at least or not. Let's see. Kill it. Kill it. Oh, magic. There we go. I said better a Visual Studio crash than a drone crash again. Hopefully I will not reuse this joke many times. So cool. Now the only problem is that I need to redo the query, and it was already painful the first time. Select all from drone telemetry. We can even do like this. No, let's do like this. Drone telemetry. Oh la 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 la! This live demo is getting challenging. There we go. Execute the query. That's much faster, you know. Fresh restart of Visual Studio is flying. Strangely enough, what I'm doing here. There we go. Hopefully now it will compile my code. Looks good. Perfect. Yeah, look how fast it is, my machine. Good. So now we want the queue. Here you can see again my nice UI that can scale, so it can really help me out. And now you can see I can execute the query, and I'm already pumping in data, right? So I should already receive data. You can see it's getting new data. It's a bit small, but you get the data in here. So you can see data is really flying in. So now we can really take off and see if the alarming system it works. So take off. Cool. Move around. Let's go higher, higher, higher. It's even lazy, this one. Go higher, yes, I'm over. Let's rotate a bit. Wow. Manuel is getting scared by my skill set. Go down, and below, and then go up. And then in a few seconds, you should see the message coming in. I'm almost half confident that we get the message in if I didn't screw up the queue name. Hello, please, 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 land. Why you're not getting? Did I write it something good? Let's see if there's some kind of error. No, looks good. Let's quickly check how did I configure if I did something wrong here. In my output, drone, run, drone, alarm, queue. Strange? Did I get the message? Maybe no. Okay. This one didn't really work, but okay, I have more demo to do. Strange. Let's leave it here. Or maybe, you know what? We can restart and see if it's picking up. I should come, but let's see. Let's leave it here and move on to the next stage. So, now, what I want to do, I get data in Power BI. So now that I have data in Power BI, I can analyze those data. So I can go in with a browser. So Power BI, if you want to, is a browser-based or a reach-based client that can go and create quick reports without writing code. So it's really a business user tool. I can go in very quickly, create a report, do kind of nice combination of charts and so on without writing code. So let's go in and use this Power BI technology. Okay? So I get Power BI from HTML. Let's quickly check. No, Q is not coming. Whatever. Hopefully the Power BI was good. There we go. I go in my Power BI here. And here you can see I have down there my connection to SQL. So I can go simply on SQL and say, look, I want to create a chart. It should look like this. And it should have the drone telemetry. And say, show me maybe the altitude based on time. And there we go. Oh, I almost crashed the drone. When it's landing, the sensor gets mad. And so I think it's even flying below 0. You see I was a couple of times over 1.4 meters, so I should have triggered the things, but you see I get the data. Now I can say, oh, show me the battery consumption, for example. So I can see here that the battery is going down quicker when I'm flying. Not a PhD, you need that, but you can prove it. Or you can even do some cool stuff, say how nervous I was flying, so look at the angles. So here is basically the rotation one, when I was trying to rotate, and the other two. Or you can even do some magic and combine the data. I say, look, I can add this donut chart and say, I want the count of row based on flying state. And so basically here, what you get is when he was flying, when he was landed, when takeoff, and when landing. So now if I check the 0, you can see there is less movement on the drone. Of course, it's standing there. And if I can get the flying, you get only the flying things. And you can see, I didn't need to connect the chart. Automatically, it's connecting and do this magic. But I can even take more risk, and I can say, let's analyze data live. So I can go in my stream and say, look, I want the stream data. I want a chart there, and I want maybe to see the altitude over time. So I can say time and altitude. There we go. So it's getting the data here. Basically, it's getting the historical that I was streaming over a couple of times. So hopefully it will come. Let's do that. We can pin it to the live once it's coming. Let's check the last time with the queue. I really did screw up something in creating the queue. And I think it's the same mistake that I did, so let's just quickly check what was the name of the queue. Alarm queue. Did I type it right or not? Yes, let's just check. Run drone, alarm queue. Strange. Whatever, let's see if the Power BI is coming. There we go. Not doing. I say, look, you want to connect, get the chart, and basically I want the altitude over time. There we go. So now you see, every time that I was flying over the last week, so you can see how many rehearsal, what kind of crash did I have, and now I can even say, look, I want to pin it, let's say test. I want to save it. I want to create a new dashboard. Let's call it live. And now here, the cool thing I can do, I can even get real-time data. So now it's got to this live dashboard, and you can see I can move that. And now I even have a language that I can say, look, show altitude by event time, where event time equals the last 60 seconds. So now I'm saying, oh, go grab the last 60 seconds of data, pin it to, go back, and basically I have two charts, my history and my live data. Okay? So think about it. It will refresh every 10 seconds, so it's not super real time, but let's do that. Let's fly again my drone and see if the data will come in. So I will fly. And now slowly, now there's no data because of course in the last 60 seconds it didn't get any data. I should go up, go up, go up. Hopefully at some point we should come some data in. Please. I can drink while flying. Hello. I will run out of battery before the data gets in there. That's the risk. I think I really something screw up in my query or something, but whatever. Real-time data, not coming. Okay, so I will quickly check later on what I did wrong in my query. Let me see if I could go and check the error log, but yeah, everything around Q is right, round, yeah, whatever. Okay, I have more stuff. Hopefully the next one will work. I kill it. If not, I will check 10 times. Good. So now, the last thing I want to do that is pretty cool is to analyze this data in another way. So we get data in Power BI, we did some kind of transformation and so on, but I can do more. I can use something called machine learning. So the idea of machine learning is to analyze pattern and detect pattern and do prediction. So you can basically change the battery of this thing. If not, we cannot fly it again. So the idea of machine learning is very simple. Is to have a framework where you can analyze data and come up with prediction. So basically saying, oh, let's, typical scenario for me, and there are many algorithms, say, okay, will Cloten or Ambry go to the playoff? So that's a very simple algorithm to figure out. Ambry loser, no chance, Cloten goes in. But in our case, it would be cool to analyze some more useful data and view that this changing battery of my drone. Wouldn't it be cool to be able to predict the flight time with the battery that I have at this point? So I can always try to guess how much time is remaining to fly based on my fly patterns that I have at this moment. So this is really what machine learning is about, is do prediction. Okay, so we have multiple types of algorithm, regression-based, 2-class classification, and so on. And what I will do that is getting out the data from SQL, going to machine learning, and from machine learning, expose a web service that I can use from my app. Okay, so now let's do that. Let's go in my machine learning, and here basically click, you can see I have a couple of one. I can go and say, go and try to predict my flying time. So let's make it a bit bigger. There we go. So how it goes, machine learning is really a interactive tool. So I can go and say, look, connect to SQL Server, go in there, visualize my data, and basically here the data that I have. I have my history of my flight. This is the history of last week. I split the data in two. So here, 80% goes to train the model, and 20% it goes to validate the model. I need to train and validate and see. And then I pick algorithm. So how did I pick this algorithm? It's very easy. I go here, regression, and there are many. So how do you pick the best one? And you know, when we did statistics at school, I was much more interested to find a new girlfriend. So I didn't really know those algorithms. So you can add multiple ones, and basically you can compare. Here you can evaluate the model and compare which one is the best one. So at the end, I picked this one. I cannot even pronounce. Boosted decision tree regression. It looks really cool, by the name at least. So basically then I go train the model. So let's see the result of my training. And in fact, you can see the data. No, not this one, sorry. I need to here in the score the model. And there we go. There we go. And here is the interesting thing. So basically here is the real value, and here is the guess value. So as you can see, I'm quite there. 232 seconds, 222 seconds is the estimation. So this is how it predicts the data. And it looks quite good. I can even see the result. And here it's basically telling me how good or bad is the algorithm. Again, look at this number. I have absolutely no idea what it means. But the chart, the chart is really good. So I think the model is quite good. So there we go. Once I have the model done, I can publish as a web service. Already did that. And I go to my web service, click to my web service here. And now the cool thing, I can even test my web service. So I can go and test the web service, and let's do that. I want to test and say, look, if I'm flying at 40 battery level, altitude 1,100, what is the flying time by there? Sorry, the battery consumption. Here is a bit small, but basically say 270 seconds. You probably have flown up to there 270 seconds. Now, I can say, if I would fly exactly the same battery level, but staying at the ground, like in this moment, and I can check the result, and there we go. You can see, oh, I did check the wrong one, right? This one. Okay? You can see that the number is much bigger. It's 1,337 seconds. So basically, what I will do in my logic, I send the current flying battery status and ask how much probably I would have flown. Tell him I will fly at 5% battery because then the drone will shut down, and the difference is my flying time. So now it will predict my flying time. Probably it's not the perfect prediction, but it's kind of realistic and it works. So now what I do, I have a web service. I copy the connection security key. I go into the documentation, and you see here, it's basically giving you the code. So here I have all the code to do the connection. So I copy paste this code, already done that. And there we go. I go into my, where is my battery prediction code? And basically here's the copy paste of the other code. Passed in the key. There we go. And now let's use this library, right? So I go in my main page and say, look, here when I get the telemetry data, fairly easy. I go in here and say, look, I want to add a method to predict. So I copy that method. There we go. It's not a huge amount of code. I will explain you the code. And I can say, okay, look, my method, what it does, it gets the sensor, the current telemetry data. I want to do the prediction every 2 seconds. It makes no sense to predict every 100 milliseconds. And basically, I call my method, the one that I pasted in from the machine learning. I pass in my current battery level and the minimum battery level that is acceptable to fly, because after 5%, the drone lands automatically, and my altitude. And based on this parameter, it will return the predicted fly time. Okay? Very easy. Let's go. Prediction of flight time by E, that is my drone sensor. I will do it asynchronously again, and so now the drone is started already. Cool. Let's do some initialization. Yeah, sure. Wrong. I should connect to the drone. There we go. Wait a few seconds. Send my security key. There we go. How can you create a drone that somebody can connect and hack? I don't know. But this is the case of this drone. And now I'm ready to fly. So I can start again my application. There we go. Here we go, connect. Now I don't have any data because we restarted the drone with the new battery. As soon as I will take off, so I connect to the drone because we just started, and now I can say take off, and hopefully the battery level is coming, and you see, I can fly 8.09 minutes, it's up there, and you see every 2 seconds it will try to predict, so it's going down, based a bit on what I do, the altitude, it will do an influence on my end. Now if I land, you can see that landed, it will react and say, I can stay much more. Of course, I'm on the ground, not flying, 40 minutes, and so on. But now if I take off again with my drone, so pretty cool, it will adapt and continue to calculate based on the fly time. So you can see, continue, we can let him fly a bit. So pretty cool. And once we land, you will see it will reduce a bit of the time, you see? And you see it's not linear, it's calculating and always evaluating now a bit more, a bit less, based on the model. So it's a good prediction and it's not just an average of something. So now if I land, you can see that the time will be, but you know, I'm missing already 2 minutes of my time of before. So it's really predicting the things. And imagine, I didn't write a single line of code, right? So very, very powerful engine. Good. So today I take a lot of risk, and why not risk it all at the end? I still have 3 minutes. And so I thought, yeah, you know, so what I can do with Cortana is pretty cool. I can go and add Cortana code to my application. So the last risk I'm taking today is to try to fly the drone with my voice. And with my accent. That's the killing part. So let's do. If this demo works, then I'm done. Good. So I go into my Visual Studio, and I already wire up an event called microphone click or whatever. Microphone check it. Okay. So I need a speech. So this is the Cortana engine that I can use inside my universal Windows application. I say, look, I want a new speech recognizer, and those are what you can recognize. So drone takeoff, drone left, drone right, and basically sending those messages. Okay? I compile. I say, look, these are the constraints. I wire up an event handler, and then I start. That's it. Now I need to do the event handler code. And let's paste it in here. There we go. So here is very simple. He gets, every time Cortana finds something, he said, I try to understand you. I said, trying. You get the tag. So the tag basically is the command that I'm sending in. So if she understands drone right, she will get this right, SP. And then, basically, it's checking. Oh, I'm confident that I hear this guy right. If yes, go and send a message to the drone. And the drone will execute, maybe. So now, I need a bit of boost of confidence. View my accent. And I say, look, even if you're not too confident, try to do something. Huh? Not a good idea, I know, but hey, I'm done after this session, so good. Okay, kind of look cool. Now, the drone is a bit particular, especially this one. It's not reacting too well to me. So I said this drone is really like my wife. If you don't scream at her, she will not react. Actually, even if I scream to my wife, she's not reacting, or not reacting well, let's put it this way. So, now I have the microphone here. I don't want that it picks up the noise of the drone, so I have a bit low volume, so I will scream to my notebook. I'm not crazy, it's just for data. So, let's hope for the best. I started my application. I get connected to the drone, get the telemetry, drone is ready to fly, and I can try. Drone, take off. Drone, left. Drone, right. Isn't it cool? Now he will go right. I put it really slow pace because I was scared to lose it. Drone, land. Good. So, to conclude, after 2 heart attacks for a couple of demos that was not really working as expected, I did probably screw up a small things there. I think I show it in this 1 hour and something, how quickly and cool, thanks to the cloud and the universal Windows platform, you can create some really amazing solution. Of course, this is absolutely not ready for production, but it shows really how easy. Think about creating all this infrastructure yourself, queuing system, SQL Server, getting IIS up and running, the BI, creating the reports, everything, machine learning, how powerful it is and how easy it is, view that is already there. You can go and experiment, and you pay for what you use. So you're there experimenting a bit, say, no, it's crap, I don't use it, okay. But you can really start to experiment and use new technology without really long life cycle. And plus, we really maintain and make it usable for you. So I think this is really a key message. Look in the UVP platform. With Xamarin, it will get even better. Look into the Azure. Look to those services. I'm sure you will even enjoy. And as a conclusion, I hope you enjoyed my session as much as I did enjoy giving to you. And have a nice rest of TechDays. Thank you very much for your time.